A research group wishes to estimate the proportion of homes in Europe that had internet access in 2010. With no prior data about the proportion of such homes with internet access, what is the minimum sample size that should be used to construct a 95% confidence interval if the group wants the margin of error to be no larger than 35 thousandths? We first need to start with understanding the C% confidence level that we need, which is 95%. And with this value, we can find our critical value for Z star. So for 95% confidence, Z star is equal to 1 and 96 hundredths. We are also told that the margin of error is to be no larger than, that means it can be less than or equal to 35 thousandths, which is equivalent to 3.5%. So the margin of error is the section of the confidence interval formula that multiplies our critical value, Z star, times the square root of p hat times 1 minus p hat, which is again our sample proportion, all divided by n. And we know that that has to be less than or equal to the margin of error. And we already substituted the margin of error in to our inequality. So now we have our critical value Z star. We can substitute that in. We have 1 and 96 hundredths, but we don't know from information given in the question what our sample proportion or p hat will be. So the effective guess for p hat in this case, when it's not provided, is 5/10, which is equivalent to 50%. So we have the square root of 5/10 times 1 minus 5/10 is going to give me 5/10 again, all divided by n. And now what we can do to both sides to get n by itself is we can multiply both sides by the square root of n. And we can also divide both sides by 35 thousandths. So these will cancel out, and we will have that the square root of n is on the right-hand side of our inequality, and on the other side, we are going to have 1 and 96 hundredths divided by 35 thousandths times the square root of 5/10 times 5/10. Well, 5/10 times 5/10 is 5/10 squared, and I can take the square root of that, which will give me 5/10 also. So we have 1 and 96 hundredths divided by 35 thousandths times 5/10 is less than or equal to the square root of n. And now if we square both sides, we will end up finding our n value. So n has to be greater than or equal to. That also tells us n has to be greater than or equal to. That means it's an at least. So we can cross out our at most answer choices. And now we can substitute 1 and 96 hundredths divided by 35 thousandths squared times 5/10 squared. And if we do that, we get 784. So that means our minimum sample size is at least 784 people, which is answer choice A.